Hello, my name is Walter Schmid, award-winning author on the book on super yacht sales. By the way, this book I have written with a gentleman. His name is Raymond Aaron. Raymond Aaron. And it's not an incident or a coincidence that I have somebody here for this show, for the Walter Schmid Show, which is exactly the man I want and I need for all my communication skills. I welcome you warmly, Raymond Aaron. You are not just a special person. You have written over 145 books. You are number one speaker coaches and wealth coaches, and you have achieved so much success. Thank you very much being here. Tell us a little bit, who are you?
My name is Raymond Aaron. I am a New York Times top 10 bestselling author. I'm the only person in the world that has ever written exactly 2 Chicken Soup for the Soul books and a For Dummies book. I wrote Branding Small Business for Dummies. I have written and had published 147 books. I'm a professional speaker, a seminar leader, an adventurer, and a broadcaster. But right now, I am simply the guest of Walter Schmid and interested in giving you dazzlingly informative and educational and entertaining answers to Walter's questions.
That's awesome. I really appreciate that. But you're not just a simple person. Anyway, you can't bring that away. You are and you will always be the Raymond Aaron. But let's go to the questions, because I was wondering, it's about books. There is the notion out of the market there that people say books, they don't make money. They just cost money. They cost time. They cost effort, and they don't bring any return on investment, which I doubt a little bit. Now, what is your experience in terms of books, as you have written so many?
Your friends are right. You can't make money selling books, but you can make an enormous amount of money when the book sells you. A book is the best calling card, the best business card you've ever had. People throw away business cards as soon as you turn around, but they don't throw away a book. And when you've written a book, people say wow about you. That means you're branded, and they will eagerly buy your coaching services. They will join, they will become a client or a patient of yours. Whatever products or services you have to sell, you'll be able to offer them at a higher price, and people will clamor for it. So you don't make money selling books. You make money when the book sells you.
So that means that the book can be actually used as a sort of a business card instead of a regular business card to promote yourself?
I haven't had a business card for 38 years.
Now tell us a little bit, or tell me a little bit about communication and the book, about what makes it important to have a book or more than one books.
Well, the first step is to have one book, and you get a gigantic increase. Mostly people are not noticed. Mostly people are just there. They're not considered special by their neighbors, their family, their coworkers. But when they've written a book, they're looked up to as enormously special. And people ask their advice as if they're somehow wise because they've written a book. And so you can expect your income to skyrocket. You can expect to be invited onto radio talk shows and television talk shows. You can be expected to be on stage, be interviewed on podcasts. You can be expected to earn a lot more money because the book sells you so well.
So what would you say in these terms of business? If you have a business, or I have a business, what is the main impact that a book makes, besides just getting interviews, getting the opportunity to be on stage, on the radio? What is it that makes a change within a company?
Well, first of all, when you get interviewed in all those places, you mention that you have a book, and you mention how they can get a hold of you, and lots of people will want to be clients of yours, lots and lots, and that's how you make more money. The book dignifies you so much that people don't ask the price, or they want your higher priced products, or they'll pay in full instead of asking for a payment plan. My income has skyrocketed since I started writing books, and so has the income of my thousands of book writing clients around the world.
Now, in terms of writing a book, many people say as well, "Oh, I can't write the book because I have no idea, I have no content, I've never written a book. How can I start with making a book? And maybe even it's not the language that I'm speaking that I want to write a book. What is the solution?"
So, first of all, you don't have to worry if you're bad at spelling, grammar, or punctuation or sentence structure, because roughly a third of my clients, for some reason, English is not their primary language. It's not their first language. But you don't have to worry, because as badly as you write, it doesn't matter. The only person who sees what you write is your editor, and your editor cleans up the spelling and the grammar and the punctuation and the sentence structure as if you wrote in perfect English. So you don't have to worry about that technical aspect. And people who think that they can't write a book, I agree with you. You probably can't write a book. That's why I've created my course. And once you are under my wing, then I teach you not only how to write a book, I teach you not only how to write a great book, I teach you how to write a great book that makes you lots of money, that makes you lots of money.
Now you have made a lot of success in your life. You have achieved so many things in writing books and also giving courses, and communication is a huge part of writing a book. And you are, it's not only, by the way, me. There is another person that I talked to about you, and he told me that he never ever met somebody like Raymond Aaron, who is able not only to speak, but also especially teach people on how to communicate correctly, professionally, and on the highest quality. Now, how do you use that part also in combination with the book?
Well, my authors get suddenly asked to be on stage that I realized I'd better help them speak correctly. And you might think, or your viewers might think, that they do speak correctly. Leave me alone, I speak correctly. But there's two purposes of communication. One is transfer of data. Transfer of data. So I say to you, I like your shirt. And you say, thank you very much. I bought it at this store. And I say, wow, maybe I'll go to that store. That's called transfer of data. And no matter how badly you speak English, we can still transfer data. But the senior purpose of communication is love. And if you make lots of mistakes, which you don't even realize you're making, then you don't create the love. People won't date you, they won't marry you, they won't vote for you, and they won't buy from you. They won't sign on the dotted line, they won't buy your products, they won't help you get rich. And so I teach people not just how to transfer data. Hi, how are you? I am fine. I teach you how to generate love when you speak by not making the 59 communication errors that I notice people make without their even realizing it.
Well, that's a lot of mistakes that someone can do, or I can do, if I don't speak correctly. Now, especially in this time with this corona, with this pandemic stuff, a lot of people have been stuck at home and they needed to change the communication, as well as you have to change perhaps some things in your business. Now, how important has become now the communication within this new time, because so many things go through the digital world, through the, I call it also the electronical pathway somehow. What is the change that has happened, and how have you adapted your business in this regard?
Well, number one, people forget that there's an image and they think they're just talking. But if we look at Walter's backdrop, it's a very regal, royal purple color, and it's diffused so it doesn't distract your eye.
Mhm.
Look at mine. I just moved to a 3-story luxury log cabin, an hour's drive from any major city. And the background, these beautiful logs, were wonderful for the first week or so, and then they became boring. And so I've hung an interesting photograph that doesn't distract from me, but just adds a little bit of luster. But when most people are on Zoom, they have the goofiest garbage in the background. They have light switches, or they'll have a corner of a very glaring painting that just is horribly distracting, or they use one of those horrible green virtual backgrounds, and they're terrible because when they move their head disappears, and they think it's cute. They'd like to see the Golden Gate Bridge in the background or a desert scene in the background, but it's garbage because if they move their hand suddenly disappears. So if you want to do well on Zoom, you better pay as much attention to your words as to what people actually see.
But that's awesome. And with this, I want to actually go to another place which I have mentioned beforehand before we met here. Because in the yachting industry, which I have written the book about super yacht sales, communication is a very important topic. A lot of people should actually have the ability to use it correctly. Now, by saying that, I realized that there's a huge gap that could be actually filled up. But because it's a luxury part in lives of people, they don't pay too much attention of what is taught to the people. That's my realization. And therefore, they lose a lot of clients or abilities to make business and also to build up relationships. Now, with your programs, what would you recommend for people that are in the super yacht sales or in the yacht sales or in any other luxury market? What would you recommend that they can increase their ability, their skills in the communication?
Any salesman should be shot if they don't have a book. It's the dumbest thing that people do. Every realtor has to have a book. Everyone who's in any sales has to have a book. Every single professional, that means doctor, lawyer, chiropractor, must have a book. Otherwise, you drown in the sea of sameness. If you're a dentist, let's say, there's a dentist on every corner. Why should I go to you? But if you've written the book on dentistry, then of course I'll go to you. It's so simple. It's so easy. And yet nobody thinks of it. If I, at my age, could give advice to my 16-year-old self, or let's say 20-year-old self when I was just starting out in the workforce, I would have said, write a book about whatever you want to be hired in, and you'll immediately get any job you apply for at a way higher salary. And then before you start any business, little Raymond, write a book about it before you start the business. Because why would you want to drown in the sea of sameness for years before you write a book?
Now, when I'm writing the book, the sentence that you mentioned about communication, which is a huge part, so actually one of the most important that I see it as, that is the definition of communication, because many people ask, well, what is communication? Where does it start? What is the definition and how it ends and what is the impact? So my knowledge about communication, because I've actually attended one of your courses, which also brought in the part of communication. And I heard these terms or this sentence, the duplicated, what was that again? Which, by the way, is a good example, should not happen. This is a very important lesson that you taught all the people and me as well. But sometimes it still happens. So it's really natural here. Nature is real, raw. Raymond Aaron and Walter Schmid. There is this notion of what is it, the definition. So how do you define communication?
Communication is the transfer of a particle of information from sender to receiver over a distance with attention and intention that the receiver gets it.
Okay, well, that's kind of difficult for people who don't understand. I do got the information from you when I joined your class, and now I got it. It's the postulated duplication, which I remember that you have taught to us, which is very important of what that actually means as well.
Yes, it's not the sending of the particle information, it's the receipt of it. So a teacher can't say to a student, I don't know why you don't understand it. I taught it to you. It's not the teaching, it's not the sending, it's the requirement for the receipt. So if the student doesn't get it, it's the teacher who's responsible, not the bad student.
How important is coaching in the business world, but also in the private world? How important is coaching nowadays? A lot of people say, well, you can read everything in books, you can go to YouTube, you find everything there, you can order some lessons online, but the real coaching in the people's world, how important would you say is that?
Well, I won't live a life except a coached life. I have coaches in several different areas of my life. And as clever as I am, as high IQ as I am, as high income as I am, I don't make any decisions without blowing it by my coach, because coach has wisdom that I don't have. And I have a rule: when you're in your own fog, it's foggy. So I will be puzzling over a problem in my business or my personal life, and I'll go to my coach and he'll give me a suggestion. I'll say, damn it, that's the same suggestion I would give Walter if I was coaching Walter. But in my own thought, in my own mind, I can't figure it out for myself. And so the joke is, you can't lie on your own couch. Like a therapist can't be his own therapist. You can't be your own coach. You need wise advice from the outside. And it doesn't matter how many billions of pieces of information are out there. You don't know which is good information and which is bad information. Like in the speaking world, people who don't know anything, like total morons, will tell people, if you're nervous to stand up on stage, just imagine everybody in the audience is bare naked. It's the unbearably stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. When I walk into a room, I pray to God that everybody's fully dressed. If half the people in the room were bare naked women, I couldn't concentrate. It's the totally stupid advice I've ever heard. And so when you say there's lots of information out there, there is, but most of it's garbage.
So it's very important to keep the focus on actually this person that you want, you need in your next step as a coach, which can be a different one as well. It depends what it is, what the topic is, or the experience that you have. Is that something to, I mean, it's for me, I realize it's pretty hard to find the right coach. And I heard someone told me, a person told me, you can't find the right coach because the coach will find you once you are ready. What would you say about that?
Well, it's very spiritual and woo-woo. You can actually do some work to get a coach. If you want to be considered to have me coaching you, actually, if I could just give an email address, help@aaron.com. Help@aaron.com. That's AARON.com. And if you're interested in anything that Walter mentioned, if you're interested in my speaker and communication course, or if you're interested in being considered as a coaching client, or if you're interested in writing a book, just email help@aaron.com and say, I want to write a book. I want Raymond to coach me. I want Raymond's speaker and communication workshop. Just whatever you want, and my staff will take good care of you.
That's a very good information. By the way, whether you look at this interview or listen to this interview, you will get all the information how you can reach out to Raymond Aaron, that you can get your coaching, whatever you need. You find him on the internet, on whatever it is, maybe Facebook as well. But I make sure that you, as a listener and the viewer, get all the information, because I want to share value to you. I want to give you the opportunity to have access to this coach, Raymond Aaron, because he's not only for over how much now, 40, 45 years in the business?
38 years.
30 years, a long time. I call it almost a dinosaur in the communication world, with a knowledge that is surviving all things, all matters that comes up in future and from the past. So there is a knowledge in this man, Raymond Aaron. You can't find it in another one. He's the only one. I experience him as well. I'm still always learning from his coaching programs, and I will sure it will be not the last that I have attended. And this is important, as I heard from you, Raymond. And I want to ask you, what is your best advice for an entrepreneur? whether it's a new one who has a small company, one who has a bigger company, what is your best advice in these days on what they shall do to increase their profitability, their success?
Write a book.
That's a clear answer. And I encourage you, do write a book. Make sure you get your book out, that the book sells you, not because you want to sell the book. Raymond?
Also, you have to remember that the book can't just be about the content. There has to be 31 subliminal messages in it, and that's what I teach in my program.
31. Now, as you have heard that from Raymond, it's time for you to take action. There is no time to waste, because as long as you wait, as long nothing happens, if you want to increase your business success, your lifestyle, also your happiness, your well health, everything, you gotta write a book. You gotta reach out to Raymond Aaron, and you'll find everywhere here the information how to reach out on Raymond Aaron. Raymond, it was a real pleasure having you here. Thank you very much for your time. I want to give you the last words for the listeners before we wrap it up.
Thank you. If you simply email me help@aaron.com, my staff will actually take great care of you. We really are a loving company. We hold customer satisfaction as our highest cherished goal. So I'm happy to take care of you if you wish me to help you. And Walter Urs, thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Raymond. This was the Walter Schmid Show. One more time with an amazing guest, Raymond Aaron. Take care wherever you are in this world. Be safe and come back soon. Bye.